Hello, and welcome to another episode of Joy and Gratitude. And this time, I think this is going to be our best episode because we are doing generations all together. And Beth, she decided to bring the world to us. So, Beth, can you introduce yourself and also our partners in crime for the day, even the
Ah,
doggy?
and the doggy. Yes, I know. Yes. So, Nio, you are right. This is going to be special no matter what. In our episodes, we have talked lots about intergenerational conversations and how critical they are to all of us as we grow and learn and continue to manage the complex place that we're in this world right now. So, I have the honor of having my two daughters joining me here for spring break. And with them are their incredible friends. So we were talking about it and we invited them to come and to be with us in this space and to have a conversation. So I will, before we even get started, I'm going to let them share their names and we'll just go around so you can get to know them pretty quickly and then we'll dive in together. So,
Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm Ellie. I'm Annie, one of Beth's daughters.
I'm Betsy.
I'm Lila, the other daughter.
And I'm Megan.
amazing. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
So the way we thought we would do this, and for those of you that have watched, and many of them have, yay, is this is just really a beautiful conversation where we just talk openly about what's important to us. And what comes to mind for me is our values. Where do we get our values from? And what do we value? And I personally believe that values can shift and change over time. And so I thought it'd be really interesting to hear from this amazing group of young women what they value. And so if you could share a personal value and maybe a little bit of background or context for why is that value something that you chose to share with us? How did it come to be important to you and why is it meaningful? I think that could really help us and our listeners get a real good sense of your generation right now. So who wants to start? Lila's starting.
Yay!
All right.
Go, Lila. I don't want to sound too cliche because I know that like quote unquote be yourself is a value that you're trained when you're young and to always be yourself and be true to who you are. But one of the things that one of our family friends said which is I feel like is a little more clear than be yourself, which is you be you. And I think that especially applies to our generation, like high school, college age, even after that. There's a lot going on. Everyone's trying to find who they are, what they value, and like conform and be in the cool and all of that kind of stuff. And I think sticking true to your own values and being what you think that you are and really following that is really important. And I think at times it can be really hard, but it's important to just strive to say what you believe, advocate for yourself, and use your voice. And that's you be you. That's my value.
That is a beautiful value. And I will tell you, you think that's important now, in a few years, it's going to be 10 times more important because you're going to be in that corporate world. You're going to be maybe raising a family. And it really will be about how you present yourself and the perceptions people have of you because you are your authentic self. So great job. That's a wonderful value. Who's next?
I can go next. I think that my value, I think this is a value, but just like presence, always being like mindful that you're being present in the moment. And I think especially at our age in this time, like we're all seniors back here, this is our last couple months of college. So it's especially, it crosses my mind a lot, just being present in this moment and taking everything for what it is when there's so much uncertainty around us, but we can take things one step at a time. And even I think about moments with my family, like we spent a lot of time together and we just had a trip this past summer talking like this could be our last trip, just the six of us. Like our family's going to expand. Like you don't know what's going to happen. And so just being really cognizant and taking those moments in and when everything is so fleeting. So I think that I'm working on trying to stay present in the moment, not get too caught up in the future, the past, and enjoy the ride, which was leading into my song, but we can get there later.
Yeah, I love that. Ooh, intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, presence is something that Nio and I talk about pretty much every podcast. And so I know we do espouse it as a personal value, both of us ourselves, and that it actually is such an incredible tool. And I get really excited when we talk about intergenerational for just the fact that you know that already. I think it took me a really long time to know that that was something that was important, to find myself focusing on being present, prioritizing it, and being intentional about it, because it's very easy to get caught up and forget to actually stay in the moment and be present. And I learned that much later. So I love that that's a value that you already know and espouse and can carry you through many more years to come. So who's next?
I can go.
All right, Megan.
So my value that I'm choosing is empathy. And I guess I came across it like elementary school. I remember we had an author come in. It was kind of about like being a bucket dipper and like putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And at the time, like everyone was kind of making fun of it, like being like a bucket dipper. Like, what does this really mean? But I guess like now that I'm about to enter a new stage of my life, like meeting a bunch of new people, and even just like meeting new people every day in college, you really have to think about what other people are going on behind closed doors, because you don't really know. And I'd like to think that other people like would treat everyone with kindness because you don't know what's going on, and trying to think about, oh, like what would you do in their situation? I think it's just a good way to treat people nicely always, because you don't know what's happening.
Can you tell us? Yeah, bucket dipper. I don't know. Is that what you're going to say, Nio?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know. Tell us the bucket dipper.
I wish
I
I
read that too.
Yeah, could credit the author with this, but it's a story. Like everyone has their own personal bucket, and if you say like something mean to someone, like their bucket drains, but then you could be a bucket filler, like with the metaphorical and like fill their bucket up. And it's just like being cognizant of like, oh, if people's buckets are like lower, it like might affect them more. And like if you fill their bucket, it'll make more of a difference if it's already so low, stuff like that.
Funny. In our generation, we used to call it the bank. So either put something in the bank and you would make withdrawals from the bank. I have to say, the three of you being at such a pivotal point in your lives, you're just about to finish college. You have said the three key leadership values that will take you far: to be present, to be yourself, and also to have empathy lets you lead, not as a servant leader, but as an authentic leader. So kudos to you because you are already starting out your life knowing what's really important. Who is next?
I can go.
Okay, Annie.
I would say that my personal value that I am like ride or die for is honesty. And this goes towards being honest with yourself, being honest with other people, because I think that trust is one of the most important things that you can have with yourself and others around you. And if you're not being honest, then that's not you be you, it's not authentic. And just being true to what's really going on and trying not to, of course, you can sugarcoat things in specific moments, but if you're honest about what's going on, then it's easier for at least me to tackle things. And if I ignore it and I'm just kind of lying to myself and just telling myself something's not happening or it is happening, then that just changes the entire course of what's going to happen in the future. And I think that honesty is just the best policy. I really do, because it helps you personally grow, and it also helps your relationships with others grow if they know that they can be honest with you and trust you.
Honesty is something that people get sometimes wrong. And when I say that, it's honesty is actually the best policy, but it is the approach to giving the honesty to someone else and even to yourself. You can start being honest with yourself to the point that you depress yourself. You can start being honest with yourself to the point that you just make yourself feel like you can't handle things. But honesty really is clarity, making sure that everyone understands and sees the situation as it is from the lens that you have. Remember, it's only your lens. You could be in the same place, same situation, and every one of you is going to see it a little different because you all have a different angle. But being honest is also being gracious and giving that person the information in a way they can digest it. So it's a beautiful thing because it does invoke trust, but it's something that we have to curate it and take care of it, and not use it to harm.
100%. I definitely agree with that. I feel like I think of honesty in a positive like way, and it is important that people can like separate the two from being kind of cruelly honest and then being honest in a way that will help people grow. And so I definitely agree with what you said.
Amazing.
Okay, I'll go. So my personal value is loyalty, and it kind of ties into like Lila's and Annie's. It's like you have to be loyal to yourself, what your values are, because that will just get you so much farther in life. And also like the people that you choose to surround yourself with, especially in like your family, because most of the time, your family will be there for you no matter what. But like your friends, your best friends, they are not going to be there for you if you don't try and be there for them. So if you're just like proving that loyalty to them day in and day out, being honest with them, like having empathy for them, all these values that we've already said, like I think those all like really kind of just embodiment or the embodiment of loyalty. And I just know it's such a big thing for me because I try and show my loyalty to people, like learning their love language, trying to show up for them, like going if they need help in a certain situation, just like being the person that they can go to prove that I am loyal to them and they will have me, and then hopefully they'll be able to return it to me one day. So that's definitely my biggest thing.
That's beautiful. I love that you commented on how these values are weaving together. It's like I'm craving, Nio, a word that encompasses all of these, which probably doesn't exist, but every single one of them is just becoming interwoven into the other. And maybe it's just, maybe we can talk more about this after we hear from Taylor, but it's kind of humanity at its best, right? Like it's as if we are creating the humans that we all want to be as ourselves and to surround ourselves with. And that's an extension, not just of self. We talk about this a lot, right? Self to family, to friends, to community, to global world. And wouldn't our world be such a better place, quite honestly, I'm going to say that right now, a better place if everybody espoused these values that we're talking about today and chose to show up as the humans that live by those core values.
Especially empathy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Taylor.
All right.
Taylor, you're up.
For my value, I thought of responsibility. This is a big one for me. I think it comes a little bit from middle child syndrome, if anyone knows what that is. I was the middle child in my family. So I guess some would say abandoned. I wouldn't say that. But just pulling your own weight, I think, is very important too. This ties into a lot of like friendships, relationships, work environments, all of those things. I think being responsible for yourself, your actions, and taking responsibility when you do something wrong, taking responsibility when you do something right too, just knowing like you have the power to control the outcome of all of your situations for the most part. And I think it just goes a long way, especially with others, just maintaining what you need to and holding yourself responsible because nobody's going to do it for you, especially as you get older. That's what I've realized a lot in college. We were freshmen last year. That was a big one for me. It was just being responsible for your own academics, your own money, everything. Just learning to, I guess, do things on your own. I mean, obviously rely on people when needed, but I think it's very good to be responsible for yourself as well.
Yeah. Accountability, responsibility. I really, I want to be friends with all of you. But I have to tell you, I was not as involved as you are right now at your age. I did not think this deep. I didn't even have a clue of who I was as an individual. I was just writing it out, to be honest. You are so blessed to be friends because I will tell you something that's really important. Um, when you get married, if you decide to get married, your marriage is wonderful. Your husband is wonderful, but your friends are going to carry you through things that your husband can't carry you through.
Or wife, Neil, or wife.
Or wife, exactly. Husband or wife. It doesn't matter. I mean, it really doesn't matter. That significant partner of yours, your partner cannot deal with certain things that your friends can deal with. Your friends know how to sit with you. And if your ultra love language is sarcastic laughter, they're going to bring you there. They're going to be the ones that are going to do the silly things to help you through. And just know your friends are anchors in your life. Beth and I have been there for each other in the hardest moments and never even questioned it. Doesn't mean that our partners weren't there. They were there, but it's different. So, what you have right now is special. And I just had to share that with you. It is really special.
I know they're special. They're my people.
Yeah.
People. Yeah. And I think that, especially as we were talking about like intergenerational, since we are a different generation, and I feel like we've had so much happening during our developmental years, like starting with COVID, we were in middle school, they were in high school, like those are very like key years. And when you were saying like how like we're thinking so deeply about this stuff, I think that, at least for me, I don't want to talk for everyone, but the world that we live in, it's kind of critical to be able to think deeply, because otherwise I don't really think that you can get very far. You need the people around you, and finding the people with the same values as you is very important. And I think that that's something that I preface when I am like meeting new people and finding friends. Like I can kind of tell. And I think that the situations that we've all been put in growing up have definitely helped with how we view the world and how we see things and that kind of stuff.
And I think like COVID, like you talked about, one of the things that came out of that is like we realized that maybe other generations didn't have this opportunity since it happened for us in like such a pivotal like time in our lives. That connection was so important. Like when that was taken away from us, you're not going to school, you're not seeing these people, you're just like stuck in your house having those connections. And when you don't have them, you realize how important they are. And we were still able to maintain those like digitally, and like even just meeting in college, forming those connections, like we've already been able to be there for each other in like really hard times, seeing how strong that can be. But I do think like having moments like COVID and just like uncertainty in the world has really made those even more important and stick out.
Yeah, COVID, all I could do was think. I had nothing else to do
Right.
other than Zoom school, but I just stared at my ceiling and thought about life at the age of 13. So that was really developmental for me.
Yeah.
That's,
I agree.
Yeah, it's great perspective to just name it, right? We say, you know, we it's really interesting to hear it coming out of your mouths and your own experience, because I think Nio and I have talked about COVID. We talk about connection a lot. Talk about tools like gratitude and joy, the Joy and Gratitude podcast, to help us get through hard times through connection. That's really the fundamental piece of what we talk about. And just hearing that the disconnection was so real, because we know it from our perspective, but to think about, you just took me back to your world. Look, the tears are happening. Here they go.
Oh,
No, but like in a beautiful way, because like I didn't know what it was like to feel that way. I knew what it was like to be an adult. I mean, I think some of us are like, woof, man, it was kind of nice initially not to have to go to work, right? Like we had such a different,
Totally different perspective.
totally different perspective. And just hearing you, I mean, we projected what it must be like. We know that the impacts of COVID on our youth are going to unravel for years to come, right? For people that were younger than you, developmentally, et cetera. But I think this conversation feels to me beautifully surprising, which is always amazing, because you never know where some conversation is going to go. And as I say that, I'd like to say, I just want to applaud these incredible women also for saying yes, that when given the opportunity to be in a conversation and be in a podcast with me and you, Nio, that whether they had hesitation or not, they are all here showing up and speaking their truth. I think that's kind of an amazing thing. And I really want to say how grateful I am that you all did say yes, because I've just learned even more. I've learned even more around your generation. And I mothered two of you, and that was still new, new information around your shaping as humans. So thank you for that.
I do have a question for all of you, and you can all answer it, whoever sees fit that they want to answer it or not. And I want to go back to COVID because something happened in COVID that actually has caused a struggle, and that's communication. For us, the adults, we were used to picking up the phone and just having a conversation with each other. That wasn't a foreign thing for us, but it became an anxiety. And I'm just reading research. How do you feel best communicating? Is there anxiety over phone conversations and talking to strangers? I just want to know. I just want to know.
I was applying for internships over for next summer, and I had a Zoom call, and I had literally never been more nervous in my entire life, just because I know like we had Zoom school, but it was kind of the thing where personally I would turn off my camera and go back to bed. So like I wasn't actually paying attention or talking to anybody, but I've just found myself so much more comfortable being able to like text people. And if it's someone I'm close with, obviously I don't care if we call, but and I called them. My first round of interviews was like over a phone call, so I like didn't see them. But like the fact that they saw me like thinking and like trying to come up with a response and all that stuff gave me so much more anxiety than if I was just on the phone and I could have been like, oh, like let me think about that. And like I was able to like fidget with my hands, but I felt like I was being watched so intensely. So that was like my kind of experience with like talking to strangers over like Zoom and stuff. It's a lot scarier than I feel it should be.
Yeah. I have one job right now, and I do a lot of calling people. And I think that especially with the rise of social media and how much we all relied on it during COVID, that kind of also made all of our communication like pretty casual and very like, hey, the way we abbreviate everything. And just that now that we're getting older, especially you guys like going into like the real world, having like these actual like real jobs, like not being able to have that original, like I know my mom would tell me when she was growing up, she'd be like, I would call my friend's home phone, and if their parents answered, I would have to be like, hey, like, can I talk to your child? So, and that's very, very different. And I think that that casualty of the way we communicate has definitely been a huge stress factor for me, because I want to be able to be professional and have that skill set. And it just takes a little extra effort because we didn't grow with this is how you talk to people. Of course, like we were taught that, but the way we use our phones is very different.
I have to tell myself not to use brain rot.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
I think that I don't think of it that much as an outcome of COVID, though. I think of it as more just the rise of like technology and social media people. So like even with my friends, like I think a lot of times if it was like a confrontational issue or like something that would be better like now, I'm still apprehensive about it because it's just easier to have your phone and you have that time when they respond to like think thoughtfully before you're gonna like you just, it's uncertain when you're going into a conversation, whether it's a call or whether you're having that face to face. You don't know what's going to happen and you don't have that time to think and type out an answer. So I think that that's just the rise of technology and reliance on texting and emailing versus anything that changed during COVID from my perspective. So I just think it's more people are relying on hiding behind their phones, and that's why you see like a lot of people being really cruel over social media because they can, and there's no face-to-face confrontation after that. There's no consequences, so people can hide behind those usernames, hide behind that. And even if it's even your friend, you can send a text, have no consequences because maybe you're on other sides of the like country. So and if they call you, you don't have to answer. So there's just like that having that choice and way to like avoid it is just has hurt us, I think, a lot. But I don't think that has to do with COVID, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Also, our generation is like anxiety. Like, and it's just like kind of a comfort blanket knowing like you have time to decide what you are going to say, and like, oh wait, this is going to come off wrong. Let me delete it and retype it. And it's like, you can't do that.
And also with digital footprints and everything, it just makes everything more like something could be taken the wrong way. And then that just, someone can run with it and it can just haunt you. But it's just definitely more anxiety inducing too. Yeah, that was a good point.
Anxiety. Maybe that's a good little topic. So Can we stay there for a minute? 'Cause-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that it's become such a buzzword in
Yeah,
my
let's
opinion
talk
that it's
about
like trendy, but
Yeah.
like a lot of times it's misused in my
100%.
opinion.
Oh,
Like,
say
people-
more.
especially in our generation, everyone has anxiety and it's an excuse for everything, and it just makes me kind of like upset because then it just takes away from the like severity of when people like are struggling with anxiety. Like, sure, there's a spectrum and you might be anywhere on it, but I think people use it as an excuse too often that it's
Mhm.
taking away from the gravity that should hold. If you're like, I'm struggling with anxiety, someone might look at you like, oh yeah, you and everyone, like, then it's not
You
holding
can
the
be
same importance.
anxious.
And like, especially with our generation, like, I think going down to like middle school, like, it's great that it's destigmatized and talked about, but it's become to a point that like it's not. And I think even with parents, they're my kid has this, and it's taking away from everything.
Yeah, having a diagnosis is a badge of honor for some reason.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you're like, really? Oh, I actually have had young people come on interviews and start the interview giving me all their diagnoses.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Mhm.
looking at them, are you kidding me? You know, why would anybody want to hire you if you have all these diagnoses? You know? But I understand that they're trying to be very candid, but at the same time, it has become a badge of honor that they've been diagnosed. And reality is, it's how are you managing them? You know,
The outcome of, yeah.
Yeah.
Lila, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna say, like, back to the point of like being able to hide behind a screen, or like Annie was saying, like, oh, like I'm gonna delete this and like rethink about it. Like, I think part of that like contributes to them like, oh, I'm so anxious, like, because I have so much time to think about it. Whereas like if you're having a candid conversation with someone, you're not like having the ability to step back because you have this like face-to-face connection. You have the ability to like have a more open dialogue. Whereas like the ability to like hide behind a screen, or even like on a phone call or like a Zoom camera off, like things like that, I think that impacts like how much you are able to like stress about it, which is why like I appreciate, like, personally, I don't like making phone calls. I would rather like to order a pizza. Yes, I don't like ordering. Like, I would rather go into the storefront and say to someone like, hi, I want that. For some reason, like, makes me less nervous. And I think partly because of that like ability to hide and ability to like rethink and overthink, and like just get in your own head, I like actually prefer having a conversation in person, because I think that it allows for like more of the connection, which like we desperately need.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think we often talk about, and across many topics, the pendulum, and how, certainly in my own experience, I happen to be a person of extremes, and we talk about that, right? Neutrality is this great place. I actually am loving this idea of neutrality being a really positive thing. I think it has this idea like neutral isn't good, and I'm now really loving this idea of staying in neutrality. This is a prime example of why, because we came from, over here, up here on one end where everything was in person and, it's a totally different world. Then technology comes. Now we're on this end, and we've pendulum swung so far the other way that we've lost the human connection. And we really do need to get back to neutral, which is this beautiful place where human connection sits at the base of everything for us to be good humans. And we can benefit from technology. Absolutely. Does it help us? Does it help us to, as a society? Does it help us in our systems? 100% it does. But it also has a role. And when it starts to impact us as humans, we need to check ourselves. And I think we're on the other end of that pendulum right now. And it's going to take conversations like this. It's going to take each one of us. We go back to self. We go back to personal accountability. We go back to being authentic. And Nio and I talk a lot about self-leadership, that anything and everything we do starts with self. And how do we show up? How do we choose to be in this world as humans? And I love the idea, Lila, of just identifying, I actually feel more anxious or more let off the hook. We've heard both, which I kind of love. And that neither of those is great.
Yeah.
How do we create what works where you're using connection to allow you to show up with the values that we've all talked about today?
I
Yeah.
think that this is like a big umbrella of a subject, but when you're talking about it benefits, there's a lot of technological advances that have been so amazing for like society as a whole. But like Chat GPT, for an example, I know that it has been like, say you're having trouble, it's easier to go to chat and have that tutor you than go have a human connection with someone else. I know people that rather than having a therapist, they literally tell their problems to chat and it will say things back. And I just think that that's a huge part of another, like, if people slowly stop doing that, then it could be, and like, I don't know, I just think that it's been a huge part of the past few years that has been a huge impact on the loss of connectivity.
Mhm.
Having
Totally
such
agree with you. I mean, there's been so much, um, not only research, but studies of people that have gotten so into this digital media that they start believing that Claude, Chat, whatever dimension that they use in AI is actually a person in their lives and that they interact with it. I know that's bizarre, but they interact with it as they would interact with a human. And a lot of it is because of the fear of rejection and the fear of being judged. And, with all we've been through, it's not unusual to have those fears.
Yeah.
I do have one question for all of you, and I just want to throw this out there. So, how many times do you get two people that you can ask a question of why we're weird as Generation X? Is there anything that you want to ask us?
I mean, I feel like one of my questions would be like, since you guys did grow up with like such a different world, do you think that, kind of just preference wise, like, would you have preferred to grow up in the digital tech world that we've grown up in? Or do you like how it kind of came in once you'd already, like, your brain had developed and you had all this and you could kind of choose? Like, do you appreciate having like very limited access to, not limited, but like less access to technology when you were younger? Or do you think that might have impacted you negatively, positively? Like, what are your thoughts?
Oh,
I served it up to you.
okay. I have no regrets whatsoever. And the reason I have no regrets is because Generation X is the only generation that was right in living in the infancy of the digital computer age to the full development that we are in now. So we went through the whole cycle and we got the ability when we grew up, we were latchkey kids. Basically, what that meant was our parents would give us a key and we all had it hanging around our necks. And we get home, and for 3 to 4 hours, nobody was home. And we had to do the homework, start dinner, clean up your mess, and wait for your parents to get home. And they never asked what we did during those 3 hours. Sometimes there were micro fires that happened in the house. There were times that I remember my brother throwing a knife at me and missing me by this much. There were some crazy stuff that happened during those 3 hours that should never be named. But we were resilient. We were resilient. So that helped us be able to handle the transitions of the cycles of the world and the digital age. But it also made it that we became helicopter parents on you.
Yeah.
And that wasn't unfair because we did not let you have the ability to be able to solve many problems you should have solved for yourself. And I'll turn it over to Beth.
Yeah, I think, and I have shared this with my kids, that we definitely came from the generation where we did so much alone. We had to make so many decisions by ourselves. We had to self-entertain with no technology. You get home from school, there's nothing to do. You created games. So we had this beauty of creativity.
Mhm.
We had to create all sorts of stuff by ourselves. And I feel the same way. I guess to answer the question, I wouldn't change a thing. I feel so grateful to have grown up the way I did because, like you said, Nio, I have both. I think you probably read that a lot. Like our gen is like, we had it pretty good. We also didn't have as many, I would say, world complexities, through our life. There's if you had asked people before us with the wars they had, they probably wouldn't answer. They had it pretty good. We had the Cold War. We didn't have nothing, right? We had some stressors for sure. But if you think about by the time, 9/11 hit us, we were well into young adult,
Yeah.
we were in adulthood. So in our growing up developmental years, we just had our challenges were, like you said, figuring out what to do, being like almost too independent. And so we decided, we would do the opposite. Protect, take care, never have to go through that, etc. And it still speaks to the pendulum. It's the same thing, right? So we grow up a certain way, we feel a certain way, we want to change that for our children. And the reality is neutrality is the best. Allow you to figure some things out. Let the hard stuff happen. And that sounds really easy. It's like a line on a piece of paper. Let the hard stuff happen, or let them. We all know about the Let Them book with Mel Robbins, right? So that sounds amazing. Super hard to do. Yeah. Super hard to do. So I think we continue to push ourselves to do that more. We continue to understand. That's why this conversation is even happening, I think. We want to understand how you guys think and what your perspectives are so that we can better integrate. We want to understand how you think about technology and try to use it in the ways that you do so we can understand. And then we also have to share the moments where we feel like the connection part is important. You need to do the face-to-face. You have to have the hard conversation. Be present, right? It brings us back. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. It's a great question, Nio. Great question. I did want to see, were you going to share something?
Yeah, thank you, Beth.
That's okay. Is it?
I got cut off. Can I say
something? It was Lila. Lila wants to go.
Okay. I was just honestly, your guys' responses actually made my point even more relevant. I was just saying that I took a philosophy class about AI, or one of the topics we talked about was AI friends and the use of AI as a friend, as a perhaps significant other type of relationship. Yeah. There's lots of different things, but I think as we just talked about, your generation, you did this and that and made those decisions because we didn't have as much of that. Some of my friends don't know how to do whatever. They ask chat. How do I do the laundry? Give me a recipe because I only have these 3 ingredients. There are so many uses beyond just schoolwork or professional emails. You can ask it and anything really, and it can help you say, these are the pros, these are the cons, and help me make a decision, literally. And so I think that also, not only the pendulum shift of you guys being super supervision of our childhood, but now even into young adulthood, there is this ability to always have somebody else help you make the decision, or have access to information to help you make a decision that maybe wasn't so accessible. And I think that has had a major impact on our ability to be independent. And personally, I'm super indecisive, all of that, personality traits, I think is a part of our generation. I think that not only the pendulum swing, but also the rise of technology has also impacted that.
And that, I feel that swings into what you were saying, creativity, how you have to be able to create all of these things. An example I can use, literally 2 days ago, the 4 of us in our family went to this presentation, and it was super cool. And there was an opportunity for people to ask questions. And I won't lie, I went to ChatGPT and I was like, what are some good questions to ask? Put his title in, and I was but make it interesting. I didn't end up asking the questions because I got nervous. But just the easy access.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have had that, and I should be using my mind and
Mhm.
what am I interested actually in about this? Like the way that I could just take my phone out and just ask that is the immediate lack of
and the way that mom probably would have never thought to even do that.
Mhm.
never.
Whereas like us,
Yeah.
it's so easy, it's
It's
so
true.
common.
I was like, oh, let me ask chat. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So
It is funny watching my dad get into it though.
My
'cause
dad loves it.
it's like
Yeah.
really crazy because what you were saying about being helicopter parents, like my parents will be like, where are you? And then they'll have find my iPhone, Life 360, call me 20 minutes earlier and still ask me where I am. But like on my Life 360, my dad, his picture is a ChatGPT portrait of him. It looks nothing like him. It's horrifying. And it's like, what are you doing? But I love that you're trying.
Yeah.
But it's so funny to like
Watch
it's always like as a generation we're always told, oh, you're good with computers, you're fine with that, like they're like assume it's like in our DNA now. But like it's also very interesting from my perspective to watch older people try and figure it out, not calling anybody old here, but like just older people, like seeing how they integrate it into their lives. And like, yeah, I'll use it for like a recipe or something, but my dad's like using it to like automate response emails and stuff like that. So he's using it for the helpful aspect. So I think that's what one of my goals this year is, trying to get away from it from like, I don't know,
The
like a
little
personal
things.
aspect into
Yeah.
more like a tool.
absolutely. And it's supposed to be your ally, your support tool, but it shouldn't be running your brain.
Right.
Remember, it is your tool, not the thinker for you. And I guess that is the difference in one generation to another on how they view it. At this time, we're going to do something that is our standard in joy and gratitude, and that is the selection of a song that comes up to you, or kind of like, it's my jam or my vibe. And I'll start just to give you a second to think about it. The song that I was thinking for this wonderful episode is called Cycles by Celine, Cairo. And that's like Cairo, the country. She's phenomenal. And her song is about how life is about cycles, and you come in and out of different cycles, and every cycle gives you an opportunity to grow. It's an indie song. Listen to it. You're going to feel awesome. Anyways, so who wants to go first? Who has a song?
Yeah, I've got one.
Taylor's going.
All right. My song, this has been my song for a few years actually, but it's Heading South by Zach Bryan.
Ah,
And I always liked this when I was in high school because I'm from the North and I went to college in the South. So that was like my biggest motivation. But I think it's just a good way to look at life. Like put yourself in new positions, put yourself out there, kind of break away from the reliance we have on, like you said, like growing up with helicopter parents, like our reliance on them and people doing things for us. It's like, go get out there, do your own thing, try new things, experience new places, alone, with friends, whatever. But I just like to look at it as a way to just get out there and do new things.
nice. Who'd like to be next?
I know mine, but I'm forgetting the artist.
Okay.
So I think like mom or Betsy might, but I was really struggling to think of one, but I like the song Find Your People.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who it's by? I feel bad I can't credit it.
No.
But it really resonates like right now. Because obviously I'm on spring break with my entire family, my dog, and two of my best friends. So it really just makes me be like, if the word is like find your people, the ones who make you feel like, and so I feel like right now I feel so special and so loved and so grateful to be in this wonderful place with like all of my loved ones. And I think like you guys are my people. So
you find your people, then you find your
Right.
home.
yeah. And I found my home. So I like that song. Definitely give it a listen.
It might be Neighbors, but maybe not. Does that
Yeah.
sound right?
I don't know. But
I think
I'll
it
look-
is Neighbors. Yeah, I think it is Neighbors.
Thank you. Yeah. So
Who's next?
I can go next. My song, it's Blowing in the Wind. I think it's originally, is it Bob Dylan maybe? I know
I think it is
the
Bob Dylan.
Peter, Paul, and Mary version.
Yep.
They're like the old artists, but my grandma really liked listening to them. So my brothers and I grew up listening to a lot of Peter, Paul, and Mary.
We're like,
Like,
that's us. They're not
Puff the
that.
Imagine
that's so- I love
Dragons,
it.
Stu Ball, like that kind of vibe.
I
Yeah.
love them.
But Blowing in the Wind, I think, is especially relevant right now because like there's so many things going on, and it's like we don't have the answers, and like how many times is this going to happen before like something changes? Like how many, It's like the answers are blown in the wind. Like it's gonna all work out. Like especially like time bad, like being present. Like just don't work. You don't need to be worrying about all that right now. Stay right now. It's all gonna work out. Like the answers are there. It's just see where the wind blows.
Mm.
You know.
Good. Who's
That's
next? That is awesome. That's a great song, by the way.
I can go.
You can go.
You can go.
No.
No, you go.
Oh boy.
All right.
Megan's going.
Okay,
Megan's going.
I'm just gonna pick a happy song right now. I really like it, but I also think it kind of it's "Take It Easy" by the Eagles, and I think I just put a lot of pressure on myself right now, so I kind of like to listen to it, and it's like a happy song too, but also kind of reminds you that don't put so much pressure on yourself and kind of just live life because you can only control what you can and not what others.
Good one.
Love these oldies but goodies. Bring them on.
My song, my mom and sister know this is my favorite song of all time, is "Once in a Lifetime" by Stick Figure. And just the lyrics to the song, first of all, it's reggae, so I'm always just like vibe into it no matter what. But the lyrics, when you really listen to it, it's like everything has a purpose, everyone has their doubts, like there's uncertainty in the world. He's like, I'm looking for something, I just don't know what. And I think that shows me that there's a lot that is unpredictable, and no one knows what they're doing, and you kind of just take it as it goes, and there will be like I interpret the title of "Once in a Lifetime" being like, you are here once, like this is your lifetime, and live it how you want to. And I think that's something that song is just a masterpiece. I love it. Yeah.
Go.
My song is called "All the Young Dudes." I forgot who it's by, but it's like this really banging song. It's awesome. But one of the main chorus is like, "All the young dudes carry the tunes." And I feel like since we're talking about like intergenerational and stuff, like we're kind of at that point in our life where like flips over like who's like, I don't know, like taking care of this world and stuff. And like the older generations are going to start to fall back, and like we're starting to come up and like be like the main focus of like society and stuff like that. So it's just like all the young dudes carry the tune. It's like carry a good tune, like be a good person, do what you can to make the world better and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Really great song. You should listen to it.
Beautiful. I love that.
We got a great song list now. Everybody can
Yeah.
go listen to this song list.
Oh yeah. Mama, what's yours?
Yeah.
Oh, I do this.
And now
You have to do a song.
That's a cop out.
I know. It's like it does feel like a cop out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
we could just do one if
No, they're saying I have to have a song, Nio.
Oh, you have to have a song. Yes, absolutely.
Saying that like I need to have a song. And I said I do feel like it's a cop out not to have one, but I really haven't thought about it. So, but I'll tell you what it is.
But I haven't thought about
I
it.
just
But let
thought
me tell
of
you.
I thought I had it.
It's Seasons of Love.
Oh,
Red.
Of course.
Of course.
That song is just whenever you need to just get reminded. And it's the eclectic. It's almost intergenerational, right? That those people are really experiencing
I
the
love that you
shift.
said that. That's such a core
Seasons of Love,
memory.
right?
My mom's singing it anytime.
Yeah.
Just
That's a
like
good
that's
one.
such a you song.
It is a me song.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to do one gratitude rock. We're going to pull it out, and this makes good sense because for people that are listening, sometimes we do this. Sometimes the group has an energy, and I am certainly feeling a lot of vitality and vibrancy and gratitude in our group. And so let's see if that energy translates into what rock for us today.
We've done these before in the dorm.
Okay. Today is beautiful. The word is align.
Oh.
And we always go, I know Nio and I are always like, and there it is, align. Because here we are sitting generations apart and very aligned. Aligned in what we value, aligned in the need to walk this planet as good humans. As good humans. And if just all we can do is impact what we can impact. But if everybody in this group is so aligned, I just think we can bring some pretty special things to this world. So I'm honored to be in this group and aligned with how they think. And Nio, I am sure you feel the same.
I totally feel the same. And all I have to say is today I was inspired by every single one of you. And I know that our audience also was. And we are aligned. We're aligned in our view that the future will be bright because we have such excellent youth that are going to shepherd us as the seasons change. Thank you all for joining us in this episode of Joy and Gratitude, and join us next time. Thanks,
Thank
ladies.
you guys.
Yay.